Hello, everyone. This is Raise Your Voice as part of the Fans First Sports Network. I am your host, Brett Rutherford, joined as always by my good friend and co-host, Darby Robinson. We are live on youtube.com/@raiseyourvoice and also available wherever you get your podcasts. And once again, I'm just asking you guys to bear with us in our lack of podcasts. We at the beginning of the season, we were kind of back on once a week. And now with a lot of life happening for both of us, we are potting when we can. So we're potting tonight. And I don't know when you'll hear from us next, maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks, hopefully a little bit more frequently here in the near future. But Darby, we're back. We're back tonight. I wish we had some better baseball to talk about, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. First off, before we dig into the meat of the episode, what's your general? I like doing this every once in a while with you. What's your general vibe as a Rays fan right now?
It's not been great. It's been, the vibes have been definitely bad in terms of just like June has felt a lot like July last year, where it's just seemingly free fall disaster. No games have like felt like good or comfortable. Like even wins, like there have been some wins, but like in all those wins have been very frustrating too. It's like a lot of frustrating baseball, I would say. So the vibes are bad. And then I will say this, the vibes are very funny because I will then like go on to like Raise Twitter or Raise Internet and then like see people like losing their mind, and then that will just make me angry and in the opposite way, to be like, you know, we're potting just after it's Wednesday, so it's just after the Rays got swept by the Dodgers, but on the road in Chavez Ravine against the greatest team money can buy,
and the greatest player maybe ever,
probably the greatest baseball player of all time, who has rules specifically just for him, and you lost all 3 games by 1 run, all keeping the Dodgers offense mostly in check, right? Like
which,
they have
as
like
a fan,
3 swings.
Yeah, as a fan, I will say the 1-run losses are just more infuriating than some of the blowout losses. So
but they're better for the baseball, right? Like, like that coming out, that's the thing. So that's like, so for me, these are very frustrating because it's like everything, like you lose 1-0 on 1 solo home run to Ohtani. That's super frustrating, especially when you actually put together some decent offense, but you just couldn't get any runs. You actually finally tag Ohtani for the worst start since last World Series. And his worst start of the year, and then your bullpen, especially even guys that are the good part of the bullpen, blow it. You have a tight game, and then you kind of blow that like late. It's one of those things where it's like this is a series that is very frustrating for me to watch, and I get super mad and I get super in my feelings. Then I'll go online and see people being like, burn it down, sell everything. And like all this, you know, everybody sucks. Cedric Mullins sucks, and he's like got the best WRC plus in all of June of the Rays. Like, it reverses me immediately. Like I'm the one being like, we're doomed. We suck. The division's over. And then I'll see that, and then I'll be like, just lost like a razor thin series. Like each of these games, like yes, being swept sucks, but like in the long scheme of things, if the Rays were a terrible team that was like a sub 500 true talent 90 win or 90 loss like garbage team, these are not competitive games. These are not games that the Dodgers are struggling through, right? Like these are not games that come down to 1 swing and 1 like Alex Vezia strikeout away. Like they're much worse on the fan experience because you're so close. There's like, you know, the hope is there. But they are better for the baseball because you know that like you get one better bat, you potentially win each of these games.
Sure, but if you look, you take a step even further back, it's before this Dodgers series. I was actually really happy with a lot of the baseball that the Rays played during the Dodgers series. The fact that you lost
The
all
Angel
3
series
games.
is terrible.
Yeah, it's
that
the
one was
series
awful.
before that where
Yeah.
you played badly and you lost. And so when you play well and you still get swept, it hurts you more. You're like, well, we didn't take as many games as we needed to recently. And then you come in, it's a tough series, but when you play well and you don't even steal one, and then you go into an off day, and then I think it's Seattle this weekend, and then I think Washington at home.
So they're going to back home to face the Washington D.C. The Nats, the fighting Nats, and then KC.
It's not Seattle.
Not Seattle yet. That's in July.
Oh, that's the Longo series. Okay.
That's yes. No, this one is going to be. We have the Nats coming in, who are very good. Their offense is very potent. Their pitching is not great. So this is an interesting battle of strength versus weaknesses and strengths right here.
And your bats should be able to carry you in this series. I mean, given the way you played over the course of the season, I know you're not the biggest slugging team, but when you're playing a team like the Nationals, who are off to a good start but have poor pitching, that is when Junior Caminero needs to come through with a big home run.
And Jonathan Aranda,
needs to break out of his slump, and Chandler Simpson needs to steal a base. And we'll dig into the meat of all of that and the way they've played on the offensive side in a little bit. But before we get too far, we've missed a lot of.
What are your vibes? I do want to say, actually, I do want to come back because you asked me, because two table set, right? The Rays just got swept. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Angels. It's a 1-5 road trip, and they've fallen to 41-30, 11 games above 500. Only they have the second best record in all of the American League. They're 6 games up on Cleveland, who is 5 games above 500. They are 9 games up over the Athletics, who are in the third wild card spot at 36-37. So that's the table set, is that this supreme disappointment in horrible month where they have lost 10 games out of every 5 wins still is 11 games above 500.
Where I'm at right now is they're still the second best record in the American League. And so they've put themselves in a position where it's pretty likely that they make it to the postseason this year. They've played so well enough in the first half that they should be in the postseason. They should be playing in October. Winning the division is going to be a lot tougher. And finishing, potentially, which means if you don't win the division, you have to play in that wild card round. Right. Which means you subject yourself to a 3-game series. And while the American League is down as a whole, you're kind of down with them over the last month of the season. And if the season ended today, which it doesn't, I would have a hard time picturing you winning a 3-game series against a number of teams that you could potentially be playing against.
Who would they be playing today? I haven't even looked.
So they'd be the top wild card. So they would face the second wild card, which would be...
That's right. Cleveland.
Truly
unwatchable baseball. No Jose Ramirez.
That one before.
2 teams that noodle bats.
So you'd get Parker Messick would throw 7 shutout against the Rays in a playoff series. Gavin Williams.
He only went 7?
Yeah, no, maybe he goes.
That's a 9. That's a complete game Maddox right there.
They've got Cade Smith, so.
Oh yeah, you might have to get
that's closer in the game.
Yeah.
Then Gavin Williams probably going to strike out 10. And then who's going to homer in a big situation? Probably Rhys Hoskins. Not Garrett Clevenger. He's good. Who's going to groove one to Rhys Hoskins? Kevin Kelly, maybe. Who's also
he's good. Better. He's way better than Garrett Clevenger. Garrett Clevenger is going to walk 4, and then Sulcer is going to be the one that gives the home run, or Kimbrel, or Matz, or
So
any number.
I think the team needs improvements, and I'm also not convinced that this is a year to push chips in.
So that's the big thing. We should talk about this, because this is the big topic, right? Because Neander's had his statements about this, same statements as last year, basically. They have a lot of pieces. this is a very interesting year because the Rays have they don't have a ton of Rule 5 guys. They have a lot of guys eligible for Rule 5. Not a lot of guys that I'm like nervous about going to Rule 5. Like Trey Morgan's going to be Rule 5. I don't really care. Like I like Trey Morgan a little bit, but he's never going to play here. Like he has no path to playing time here. And so you don't want to necessarily lose him for nothing, but also like you know my stance on the Rule 5. We've all heard that many times every year, and you'll hear it again next year. But you're about to have the second overall pick. You're about to have the second overall pick financing when it comes to the draft haul. You're adding all this stuff. You just got a bunch of pieces. You have a lot of stuff that you like can use to shop, and you might want to just make some moves just because you have guys that are kind of coming up into that crunch.
Right.
So I think that Rays are going to be active, and because they don't have a lot to trade from the major league side, you kind of are in this interesting spot where they might be more buyers than they usually are, right? There's usually a buy and a sell. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. The other part of things is that you have a potentially looming lockout, if it happens at all, or how long that could delay development of like prospects, that could delay your season, right? So if you have a 2-year deal, if you're trading for a guy that's 2-year deal, maybe it's a 1 year, maybe it's a rental, which again, does that affect how much you trade but also how much you have to pay?
Right.
Prospect guys, if they're fringe guys like Daniel Pierce, who's maybe like still a long way to go development wise, if you lose a year of development and it's a long lockout, he may never be the same prospect. We've seen that with like the COVID years and the lockout and all that. Like that really messed up a bunch of guys in that range. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that make me think there's going to be some buying, and because again, the American League is very, very down, right? Like you can talk up Cleveland, you can talk down the Rays of like how they're playing right now, and they've been playing really bad baseball. But then if you tune in to like some of the rest of the American League, you're just like, good Lord, there's just it's a cavalcade of mistakes and problems. Like there's tons. So I think there will be some buying. And I do think there's paths to buy, but I do think there is like equal concern for me of like, you said push chips, right? Like, do you empty out your entire farm, like take 1 through 10 and say, I'm making this into Scooble. I'm making this into Jung-Hoo Lee. I'm turning this into Luis Arise. I'm turning this into like, or Xavier Edwards and Sandy Alcantara. Like, do you do that for a wild card spot? And I think that's the big thing is right now, this kind of June has pushed me. You were up 5.5 games. You're now 3 games back of the Yankees. And this is with Aaron Judge injured. The division's not gone, but would hope that you are operating under the sense that you are looking to improve a wild card team, not a division chase, because that could change how maybe you do go after a rental Scooble and you pay a little bit more, because if you have Drew Rasmussen and Tarek Scooble going back to back, you're probably winning that series. You just need one run. You just need one lucky Junior Caminero home run or a Yandy Oppo taco, and you've won that series. But you usually don't want to buy too much when you're a wild card. You buy when you're at the top to push you over the top. You don't want to buy to get in. So I'm very curious to see what happens, and maybe they lose out from here to the end of July. But like, what do you see them doing, like in terms of the shopping? Not getting into the specifics, but like, what is
I see it being very status quo for the Rays. I think they'll make a bullpen trade or 2, probably 2. They will pull off an unexpected trade that's not a blockbuster. Some addition that maybe you weren't expecting, a name that's not on one of the big boards, but maybe is under team control, that may or may not move the needle, right? Some of them work out for the Rays, some of them don't. Like David Peralta, I think is like, that was a trade that was like, oh, the Rays went out and got David Peralta, and it just didn't really work out. I expect them to be in the mix and be in lots of headlines and leads about Tarek Scooble and Freddie Peralta and like a number of like top end starting pitchers. And then, they go somewhere else. What I don't know is this is a new ownership group. And while they retained Neander, his directive from his bosses might be different. They might be the ones that want to get a little more trigger happy and maybe not encroach on how he does trades, but maybe say, we really want you to go out and get a big star and help us make a push this year. We need to generate excitement for a potential new stadium, and we don't know what's going to happen after the lockout, and things might look very different. So go out and make a move. I'm not convinced that it's going to work. I'm not convinced that it's going to be smart. The Rays farm system, Neander's done a really good job the last 2 seasons building it back up. It's still not at that level it was when it was like number 1 in baseball for a couple of years straight with tons of top 100 guys. But there are some promising names. Some I like more than others. With that being said, like, it's exciting to be in the mix for big names. It's exciting to dream about Scooble. We do it every year, right? We start to entertain the idea of what it would be like to land a guy like that.
But like last year, they weren't really going to do that. Like none of that was like. I think this year is a little different. You do have a new ownership group, like you said. You are much more in the mix, right? Like playoffs are secured almost. Like if you just are 500 out from here on out, which they haven't been playing in June, but like if you got to like 500 level baseball, you banked enough wins that like you have a very, very good chance. I think they're like 86, 87% playoff odds right now on pretty much everywhere. Everywhere is above 85%, second best playoff odds in the American League. So you could potentially see them making a bigger move than last year, where you were kind of in the mix of like a wild card, even after a hot streak, but the AL was much stronger. I'm really, what I'm very curious about is the level of, I'm curious to see the new ownership. Like, what does that change? Is there a big change? Because the Rays have gone out and made interesting rental moves. They've gone out and gotten like Aaron Savali, who was, again, now, like, it doesn't sound like much now. Obviously, he didn't have a good tenure here. At the time, was like a bigger name on the market. Like, that was one of the guys, like one of the top, like probably 5 pitchers that was moved that deadline, or top 3 even. Like that, he had a really good season at that point. Didn't work out, but like that was still like a big time move. And so I wouldn't be shocked to see that. I would you even want my thing though is like Jeff Passan just like released his like list of like, trade options and percentiles and like teams in the mix, and like the Rays were in basically every single person highlighted. The Rays were at like potential fit,
they have clear
like a possible fit. They do, and they are a team that can, I think, have its needs, but then also the resources to go out and get those needs. And I think I mentioned this season felt a lot like 2018. And what did they do in 2018?
They made a lot of moves.
They went out, they sold, but then they also bought. And you had Tommy Pham coming in, and like that's the type of moves that
that was the Chris Archer for Glasnow, Meadows, and Boz trade.
So they're a seller. They were sellers.
Yeah.
But then Tommy Pham, what? They're buyers. What's happening? They have a better second half. So I still think that's coming into this. I don't know if I want to go and get Tarek Skubal and trade like Theo Gillen and Brody Hopkins and like Nathan Flewelling, right? Like top 3, boom, knock those all out for 10 starts. But I do think, when you're Neander, if you are kind of like, if you get the reins unleashed a little bit, maybe you do decide to go out and make some like bigger moves, like a Joe Ryan who has another year of control. Or you go out and get
trading for Joe Ryan feels like it would close some cursed portal, like it would close the loop, and like things would go back to normal.
You could trade for him. You could trade for Willie Adames. You could trade for Xavier Edwards, Curtis Meade, like just like weirdly erase timelines.
No, do not just like do not undo the Willie Adames trade. Well, we've got Drew Rasmussen.
I know, still one of the better win-win trades of recent memory.
Yeah.
Win-win, and then the Giants signed him, and that's the loss.
I was about to say, but
Rasmussen's
still pitching for the Rays, and like I saw that tweet today about how in wins above replacement they're about identical since the time of the trade, but you also have to take into account now Rasmussen missed a large chunk of time there due to injury, and he's healthy again and starting, so he's going to rack up more wins above replacement than when he was a reliever. Adames is now no longer with the Brewers and struggling in San Francisco at the plate. So it's a win-win trade for sure. The Brewers got a lot out of Adames, but the Rays got and are still getting a lot out of Drew Rasmussen. Yeah, I think it's going to be status quo. I think the Rays will make moves.
Do you see the Rays trading Nick Martinez?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, sure. Starter on it. Does he have an option for next year?
He does not.
Okay, so he is just a free agent. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Why would we keep him?
Or if he does, it's a mutual option, which is basically no option at all.
Sure, they'll trade him.
Or that's the Stu Rays. I know they said we're not meddling, but will they meddle a little bit?
Yeah,
a little meddling.
I think
a little meddling of saying like I am not going to let. I don't want my, like, when we're in the middle of all of this, I don't want to see them be like Nick Martinez, the leading, wins in the American League. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I feel like a Yandy trade, Nick Martinez, like, I think normally you could maybe see the Rays entertain that. I just don't think they're going to do
that.
Not
a Yandy trade. You're not trading Yandy while you're in contention. Nick Martinez, you could see as a guy like, is Nick Martinez even good, as a conversation we're having right now, despite his incredible start to the season from a run prevention standpoint?
He just had one mistake against the Dodgers fearsome lineup that goes down to 9. I don't know. Still
I think he's useful. But you could also bring in two
that's
starters.
Like the test. That's going to be the test, though, is if you trade Nick Martinez, who has been a glue guy. What do you mean? A test for, because I think normally,
like when the Rays traded Zach Littell, is that a Stu decision?
No, that's a Neander move. So that's a Neander move. So I think Neander move would be to trade Nick Martinez, and then in another hand trade Nathan Flewelling for a better Nick Martinez, right?
Sure.
And then call up Ty Johnson or something to be the back end or something, whatever. But this is my thing, is like, we won't know. This is reckless speculation time. But that's where I think like it could change our priors for like, this is what the Rays do. Because I think we say that a lot, and then the Rays do stuff that's not what we think that they're going to do. And maybe we don't know what the Rays are, like what a Rays move is. And that's maybe buying and selling. But if they don't trade, like if they don't trade Nick Martinez, who's a free agent and is upgradable, but is also kind of a glue guy, that to me suggests like letting Nick Martinez walk in free agency is a very different thing than like letting Charlie Morton walk in free agency, because you had an option and you declined it. It's very different from like back in the day with Andrew Friedman, you had Carl Crawford, Carlos Pena, and BJ Upton all make it to free agency.
Right. There's value in letting the player just stay to the end of the contract.
Right. You're just like, what the value I get from the trade versus just the next 10, like it's basically like whatever I didn't get is what I traded to get Nick Martinez.
So like Littell, okay, so Littell,
yeah,
who I thought could have given some value at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. You turned him into your second catcher, Hunter Fiducia, who's like fine as a backup catcher. Is that more valuable than 10 starts of Littell that you replaced with another
Adrian Hauser?
With Adrian Hauser, who's about the same.
You basically did the Zach Littell trade for prospects.
But you're also going to be at a much better spot, I think, to make the postseason. Last year at the deadline, you it wasn't looking as good as I think it will a month from now. So you make that
true.
trade of, I just need 10 starts. Maybe we sneak into the wild card. So Hauser and Littell, it's about the same for me.
And I traded
value for next year.
I traded Flotsam for Hauser. I got something better for Littell. Right. Yeah. And it's like, I basically am around the bend. Well, and like, yeah, like,
didn't you trade Curtis Mead for Adrian Hauser?
Yeah. Well, you could have had him. You could have picked him up because the White Sox also cut him.
Yeah.
they also cut his ass in the middle of the season or early season too. So he was available. Everybody could have had Curtis Mead.
I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference is like this year, even if you're not playing good baseball, because of the baseball you have played, you're in a much better spot to make the postseason. So is it valuable to instead of
6 more weeks?
Yeah. Instead of trading Nick Martinez for a lottery ticket type of piece, let's keep Nick Martinez. No matter what role he's going to be pitching for us at the end of the season, it could be in a bullpen role or a really short leash starting role. I'd rather have that than like next year's backup catcher or a 21-year-old like low command, high stuff guy in high A.
Right.
Sure. I'll take
do you do like veteran. A Jason Adam trade, right? Which is like getting some really nice pieces for a reliever, but
you could trade Clevenger.
I think Clevenger. Where do you trade Clevenger?
I think Clevenger is more expendable right now. Let's jump in and kind of talk about
let's talk about the
bullpen. Because I'll kind of use Clevenger here as a segue to the other lefties, but you have 3 lefties in the bullpen right now, and Ian Seymour now in the rotation. So you've got Garrett Clevenger, you've got Cam Boozer, and you've got Steven Matz, who's moved from the rotation to the bullpen after just a string of some really bad starts, and he hasn't looked great out of the bullpen either. The way Cam Boozer has looked, and they've used him a lot, 3 out of the last 4 days,
has been amazing.
Pitched and looked really good. You could see him. You could see like today that Kevin Cash might favor Cam Boozer as a high leverage lefty over Garrett Clevenger, which in my brain thinks, okay, now is the time to trade Garrett Clevenger. Well, even though Garrett Clevenger hasn't been as good, I think there's still value in a lefty with whatever his strikeout rate is. It's still incredible.
Very high. Yeah. And Clevenger's younger than Boozer too, which is also kind of funny because Boozer's the new guy, but
yeah. Clevenger is up above 30% again this season, well above. He's at 32.9%. The walk rate is at the highest since 2021 for him in the big leagues when he was with the Dodgers. I think he's had a little bit of bad luck. I think he's still very much a capable left-handed pitcher that, I mean, he could fit right in.
When his command is on, he can still... I mean, he when his command is on, he still gets a lot of outs. And like his xERA is 3.42, his actual is 5.51. So there's a little bit of bad luck there. His FIP 3.59, xFIP 3.44. So those are pretty much in line. His left on base percentage is well below. His career is 76.8%. It's 63.1. So he's definitely getting some bad luck there. I would say everything else is looking mostly like normal, right? Like the walk rate's a little higher than last year's when he was really good, but in line with his career. So I think Clevenger, well, overall the pen is an interesting spot because I think you got some guys you trust. You got guys you definitely don't. And the Rays are in a really tough spot because they are still playing a lot of close games where half the bullpen is untrustworthy right now. And that's a tough spot to be in because that means you're going to have to get an inning. And so to focus in, so you have Garrett Clevenger's kind of right in the tweener spot. He's right in between. Like some appearances, he's looked really good. He's looked like the Clevenger of old. Some appearances, he looks like part of the B bullpen where it's like kind of mop-up duties. And then you have a white whale for the Rays, somebody who they have tried to get at the deadline. Speaking of deadlines, like, I don't know, probably like 3 times. I know one year it was very close with Chicago. But
yeah,
like,
oh my God,
they have been trying to get Craig Kimbrell here. I feel like Neander has been trying to get him, and this time picked him up right for free.
Yeah, like league minimum, right?
Yeah.
I think
he's which is, I will say, as much as you might like, I feel like every time the Rays have tried to get Kimbrel, I've hated the idea, I've hated the rumors, and I really didn't want it. Old man Craig Kimbrel, 38, who's just kind of still pitching, doesn't need to pitch anymore. On it, like he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame for sure.
He's just like, he went with the Mets. The Mets are a disaster, so they kind of let him out of his deal. And then he's like, I want to go to the Rays. I want to tinker with my pitches. And like, he's just doing this for the, like, this guy just loves baseball, right? Like he is doing league minimum in the in the bottom of the Rays like B bullpen, just because he doesn't want to spend time with his family. He is like, I am not going to golf. Fishing is boring. I could do that for the rest of my life. I got like I got a few bullets left in me. I'm going to do that. And so I kind of dig that. It has been ugly. It has been really ugly. But he's also tinkering with a new pitch. So like, it's kind of on the fly. He is like building the plane. So it's been not great appearances for him. There's been some sharp moments, but that's a guy that like feels like a piece. The Rays made like kind of two moves. Besides bringing up Boozer, they signed Kimbrel and they made an early season trade with the Mariners for Casey Legumina. Right, when the bullpen struggles, you do two things: you try to go get Craig Kimbrel, and then you make a trade with the Mariners. And so Neander he's playing the classics.
Both buttons.
He just like, call up a guy, call up a vet in the minors, find Craig Kimbrel's number, trade with give Jerry a call. And 2 out of 3 has been working really well because Casey Legumina has been
very dependable. They've thrown him quite a bit. I need to like actually look up. I feel like this week he's got a lighter week workload, but he's been reliable and can go in a number of different situations. So I've liked Legumina. Kimbrel, it's just exciting to see the name, and I think the bullpen is like what I'm least worried about right now. I'm not worried about the starting rotation. I think there are potential concerns that could continue to pop up, but the bullpen, out of everything on this team, I'm like the least worried about right now.
It's been like, there's been some disaster pieces, right? Like we'll talk more about Steven Matz, but like he has looked horrendously bad since coming back from the IL.
He's not long.
And Cole Sulser. Cole Sulser's been really rough too.
I don't think Sulser is long. I don't think either of those guys are going to be.
But both of those guys, like by the end of the season, this is one of those things. I'm not worried about it because like you flash forward into August and September, and you have like Alberto in there. You have like you've like, there's been moves like this bullpen.
Maybe Hunter Biggie figures it out. Maybe Alex Cook figures it out. Maybe
you have
Reifer, guys that we don't have yet.
So Legumina,
maybe we get Hopkins in a relief role. Like I don't know. There's a Joe Boyle.
Joe Boyle, yeah, like he's been moved to relief. Like that could be exciting. Like so like it eventually like shakes out. Just to close the loop on Legumina, since the trade to the Rays, so with just the Rays, 19.1 innings pitched, 2.33 ERA, 3.61 FIP. Really, really, really solid stuff. 45.6% ground ball rate. Keeping the ball in the park. He's getting Ks, 14 Ks, like solid, not spectacular, really cool arm slot guy. Nice little piece. Like, so you have some pieces here. You're starting to find some stuff. Baker's been really good. Kelly, got beat today, but that was his first runs in like a month. He's been really, really good and gotten a lot of big outs. But then the bottom of the bullpen, let's talk about. You have Cole Sulser, who is kind of doing a ton of good work early in the season for the Rays, has fallen off a cliff lately. And then Steven Matz, who was a revelation. You don't think both are long for this world? I think Sulser's
not long for this world.
Well, not long for this team. Their baseball world for life. I think they're still young men. Both are younger than me. So you know what?
Yeah.
I could be like crusty old Cole Sulser at 36. Okay. This baseball humbles you that way. Craig Kimbrell is also a year younger than me. I feel like I feel conservatively 20 years younger than Craig Kimbrell, and yet, yeah, you're younger than me. Crazy. But Steven Matz, is also not long for this team. He signed a 2-year deal in the offseason.
Is it 2 years
not an option? 2 years guaranteed.
I don't know.
2 years, $15 million.
It's just not cost. You know what
you have $10 million and a year and a half left.
I don't know if the Rays have ever released somebody who's got money on the books for the following year.
I don't know.
So how does that work if you were to DFA Steven Matz and
if somebody picks him up, they assume the contract.
Okay. Even though it's a guaranteed contract.
If he passes through waivers, if he passes through waivers, then somebody can pick him up, and then the Rays still pay him, and then he can pay a.
So that's what would happen. I don't think anyone's claiming him and eating the contract.
No. Nobody's jumping the line, right? No. So basically, if he doesn't go through, then he would be free to sign anywhere, and it would just be like a league minimum, and because he has this other money. I think Steven Matz is on this team for the foreseeable future.
Okay, you might be right.
Like, I don't think, and I think that does leave you a really tough spot if he's still this rough. But I also feel like I'm going to trust the Rays with Matz a little bit, because we saw the good Matz as a starter earlier this season. And last year, he was like really good as a reliever. And so I think one of the reasons why you sign Matz is because he can do both pretty well, and he's got a good history of that. I don't know if he's trying to work through something or whatnot. If the Rays do DFA him, then I will be pretty sure that he's cooked, right? Because then that's like them really saying, like, get him off of this team.
Right.
I think he will pretty much assume a very low leverage role for the time being. Like, I think you need somebody to like eat up innings and kind of do that. And that's his role right now on the team. He's going to have to get some lefties out as well. Like, he's going to have to be used sometimes just because of bullpen use. And we saw that in LA, and he only gave up 1 run in 2 innings, but it felt a lot louder than that. But I think that's a guy who, like, I know Rays fans aren't going to like to hear this, but like, I do think he's here. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. And I think he's just going to have to work through whatever is wrong right now.
And he's going to get the lowest leverage. Like,
I don't think he's going to be unless it's an emergency, right? Like, we've seen that where it's like, Aaron Brooks being like, this is it. So good luck.
I didn't realize. I have no idea when Aaron Brooks. I saw that on Baseball Reference today that he had pitched a third of an inning. And
it was a game. It was a crazy game where they really could have won against Toronto. They were up in extras.
It was during my wedding or something. I don't know.
It was during like either your wedding or your move or in between. It was in one of your big life events. It was a very frustrating game, but it was also one of those things where it was like
back on May 13th. I don't think I must have just been not watching.
You just
no recollection.
Block that out. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Matz is just going to be one of those guys that's kind of there. Cole Sulser, I know they really like, and he's pitched some good innings for the Rays this year.
Cole Sulser is going to just go to Durham.
I don't think Steve Kinsella doesn't think that's how it's going to work.
He thinks that finally Sulser would become a free agent.
So the option, I think it was only going to work at the start of the season, the split contract, and now it's past like the period.
Yeah, but he could always accept an assignment.
That's true. He could, but like, I mean, I don't know. Would anybody take him? I don't know.
Is he going to go pitch for someone else's AAA team? Like, I think he's got a pretty solid relationship.
That's actually a good point. That's a good point.
He's not going to the big leagues if the Rays get rid of him. I don't think. If there's a team that, like, the Rays would honor that, right? If they could find him a spot, I think they would trade him.
Yeah. I do wonder with Sulcer. There are options though. So like we should talk about. So we mentioned Boyle. We need the Durham. We're losing the Durham, our Durham Bulls beat reporter here soon. But like Joe Boyle and Brody Hopkins have been both working interesting stuff. Hopkins is still a work in progress. Obviously, he's been working really good out in front of an opener, really bad as a starter. Like he can throw strikes in front of an opener. He can't throw strikes not in front of an opener. So I don't know if it's the yips or whatnot. But Joe Boyle is more interesting to me because like in the immediate like thing, he was your starter. You had Ian Seymour in the pen. Those have kind of flipped. Ian Seymour is now kind of in the rotation, kind of getting starts, looking really comfortable. The last two starts have been pretty sharp. Joe Boyle in Durham is now working out of the pen in short relief. So do you have any intel as to, like
I haven't
how it looks, how
had
it
a chance to see
sounds?
Boyle. I've always thought that sounds like a great idea. I took the same stance with Boyle that I did on Tyler Glasnow, that I thought they were high leverage relievers, and I was wrong about Glasnow, but I feel like I could be right on Boyle here. The stuff just plays better as a reliever. You're not as worried about the command. Go out there and give it everything you got for one inning. And if that's the route they take, I think that he's going to throw some meaningful innings in the bullpen this year for the Rays. The Bulls right now, with the churning of the arms that the Rays have needed to do, and the injuries that they're dealing with on the major league side and in the minor leagues, the pitching for the Durham Bulls and the Durham Bulls as a whole right now are just not very strong. They haven't been good all season. The Rays' better prospects, other than Hopkins, are all at the lower levels, other than Carson Williams and Hopkins. And so the team is just not super strong. And then the pitching, like I think right now they've got like 2 or 2.5 starters that are stretched out. So everything else is kind of like a bullpen day. And it's just, okay, can we get 2 innings out of this guy today? And then we're going to lean on this guy for 3 innings in relief. And then now he can't go for 3 or 4 days. So we've got to fill in the gaps elsewhere. So I'm just like trying not to look at results when I look at the bullpen. But Boyle, and then another like 6'8" dude is that just I got to see for the first time last night is Alexander Alberto. He was picked up by the White Sox in the offseason in the Rule 5 draft, but was returned to the Rays. He's 6'8", and he throws an upper 90s cutter that can touch 100. There's been some command issues, but he came in with a 1-run lead last night that the Bulls took on a 3-run homer from Carson Williams in the bottom of the 8th. He was down to there was 2 outs, 2 strikes, and 2 men on, and the Bulls were down 2-0. And Williams hit one to right center to give them a 3-2 lead. So Alberto had to kind of get up quickly because he was already moving, but they just needed to get him up quickly. He went in there and got 3 ground outs. But he has looked really good in Montgomery this year. So much so that they had to call him up. 34.5% K rate and just an 8% walk rate. So with those numbers, the command has looked good. His command grades from a scouting report perspective have not been good, but so far this year he's shown good command and he's earned the promotion to AAA. And he's the type of profile where if the command against AAA hitters is still there, there's no reason that his stuff could not play at the major league level like today. The other pitcher I got to see for, I don't think this is the first time I saw him, but it was definitely the best I saw him, is Michael Ferret. Is it Ferret?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've nailed the pronunciation there yet.
Oh, I don't know, actually. You talk about him. I'm gonna check Baseball Reference.
Yeah, so Michael Ferret, who the Rays got in the Shane Baz trade, has like a wide arsenal, is like low to mid 90s fastball, but has really good command, mixes his pitches really well. And when all of his pitches are on, I think he is a really capable starter, probably projects as a middle to back end rotation guy. But I think definitely with his fastball, he's got 2 breaking balls, 2 fastballs, and a changeup. He can get lefties and righties out. I think he's definitely a big league starter. He just, he's only made 2 starts. This is his age 22 season. So he looks pretty polished for a 22-year-old and a guy that probably could tread water in the big leagues if you needed him to now. I'd like to see him kind of develop the rest of this year in Durham and then maybe get some starts next year in his age 23 season. But that is another good option to have. In terms of pitching, that's probably I'm probably missing one or two guys, but those are the ones that have that I've seen for Durham that have done really well.
The other guy that I'm really intrigued by, I mean, so we've seen some Mason Englert kind of stretching out as a starter, has shown some pretty good stuff, but Ty Johnson has been interesting. He's been playing really, really well.
And that was the Paredes trade?
That was the Paredes trade, yes.
Yeah.
He has a 1.85 ERA and a 3.31 FIP, 19% K minus BB. So another guy that you could see maybe getting a start.
Yeah. No,
in the majors.
I think similar good arsenal, maybe some worries about the command, but overall, yeah, he looks solid. Another solid option. I think right now the Bulls are just at a spot where they need to they could use like a week off to kind of reset everything on the pitching side. I feel like that's kind of hurting them right now. And the rest of the team with the injuries they've dealt with, like Jacob Melton being out is kind of hurt. Carson Williams is just now, I think, getting comfortable again. And he's bouncing around playing different positions. You've got Cooper Kinney up there. So yeah, I think, I don't know, the Bulls aren't going to win any championships this year, but I think in the next couple of years, they might be a force to be reckoned with when all of these guys, like Theo Gillen could be there soon.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the next level down, you have some really big, and a couple of levels down, you're looking at like some really interesting options.
Yeah.
So could be really big.
We shall see, but yeah, probably my last Bulls game for a while. My last one as a North Carolina resident, but I'll be excited to watch them on MILB TV.
There you go.
So should we talk about the outfield situation and kind of what's gone on with Chandler Simpson?
Yes.
So let's start with the Chandler Simpson of it all. Chandler Simpson for the last month has been like the worst everyday player in baseball. The worst player that keeps playing. I think there's only like one or two players that are below him in wins above replacement. Those same one or two players are below him in WRC plus. It's like Austin Martin from the Twins and someone else, I think, in the National League. But Simpson, a guy who was a huge defensive liability last year, but still managed to get on base at an okay clip and steal a ton of bases, is now playing a little bit better in the outfield, probably a lot better. He's playing a lot better in the outfield.
In left field. Still doing pretty well. In left field, yeah.
He is getting some starts in center to give Mullins some days off, but he is left field, which is probably the least valuable of the three outfield spots. He is, in the last month of the season, just not getting on base. And when he does get on base, he is not stealing second base at all. He hasn't stolen a base in over a month, and it's been like 5 weeks. And if Chandler Simpson is not stealing bases, I don't know what the point of Chandler Simpson is on the big league roster. And we can talk about the reasons why he's still there and why he's still playing. And I think those reasons are valid. But there comes a point, and here's what I'll say about Chandler Simpson. I've been wrong about Chandler Simpson. I've changed my mind about Chandler Simpson. If you had told me that his biggest issue this year was going to be getting on base below a 300 clip and not stealing, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought that was going to get better. It was the defense we were going to continue worrying about. Instead, the defense is the only thing he's bringing to the table. And he's still not like a complete defender. Like, he still has no arm.
The arm is terrible. Yeah.
He's just
everybody's running on it.
He's turning more fly balls into outs, which is valuable. And I'm happy that he's doing that. But everywhere else, he is a liability. In the lineup, he has been the worst player. And most of the time, when you're a young player with options and you're not like some top phenom prospect, or even if you are, and you are the worst everyday player for a month, you lose your job, like at least temporarily. And he continues to play left field every day and a little bit of center field. Is that going to change anytime soon?
Anytime soon requires people getting healthy. I would hope. I'd be curious to see. So since in the last 3 weeks, so May 31st until the month turned over, like you said, 0 stolen bases. Chandler Simpson has a triple slash line of 0.083 batting average, 0.132 on base percentage, and of course, 0.083 slugging percentage because he only hit singles. That's good for a negative 44 WRC plus. So so everybody remembers WRC plus, weighted runs created plus 100 is basically like that's your average.
I didn't know you could go negative on WRC.
So like above it, so in that same time period, Cedric Mullins is leading the team at 147 WRC plus. So he's 47% above average. Chandler Simpson is 144% below average hitter in the last 3 weeks. That's good for negative 0.5 WAR, by far the worst on the Rays. He has a BABIP of 0.097. Like, it is incredible. It is just like bad is not even like begin to describe it. He scored 3 runs in that time.
Okay. So
it's bad. It's really, really bad.
When a player that we have seen capable of much more is playing that poorly.
Like there's a difference also, by the way, because like a lot of people are doing like, they're people are rounding the bases and winning because they said like the beginning hot streak wouldn't last. This is different. This is not regression to the mean. This is like he was gonna get worse than that, but like we're talking about a OPS of 2. Like 200.
Yeah. So you're looking at a guy who
that's less than pitchers. That's
your first instinct is that he's hurt. But it makes 0 sense to me.
He had a thumb injury.
Sure. It makes 0 sense to me that the Rays or any major league club would let a young player with options that's not like absolutely key to you winning and losing baseball games, play through an injury that incapacitated him so much that he was the worst everyday player in the game for a month. I refuse to believe that he's hurt and they're letting him play through it and play this poorly through that injury. I don't buy that. So I don't think he's hurt.
You don't think he's hurt?
If he was hurt, he'd be on the IL. This is a player who everything has to really go right for him to be productive. And he is so freaky athletic, and we've talked about the game-breaking speed, that I do think it's possible. And we've seen it be possible.
Yeah.
But if he has any of those tools that make him that type of player, are like if he can't put bat to ball, which I guess he's not whiffing a ton more, but
no, he's just putting bad contact to ball.
And he's not stealing. Are you not stealing?
The stolen bases is very weird.
He's also just not getting on base to steal.
He's not getting on base.
He's had a lot less opportunities.
So okay, the season until about June 4th, right, which is where he had June 5th was he left the game due to a jammed thumb. He was at 78 WRC plus, 278 batting average, 311 on base, 330 slug, about a 312 BABIP. So not great. He was definitely starting to downward trend before the injury.
Yeah.
And then since then has been basically worse than Bartolo Colon batting. Even if you include the home run against James Shields.
Right.
Like like truly like abysmally bad. So I tend to agree with you though. Like I don't like why would they be playing him? Why would they
You've got
still
4
play
other
him?
outfielders right now. You've got
like you could absolutely you could send him down and bring up Trey Morgan or Homer Bush Jr. like who have been on
you could get rid of
your
Chase
40
Oleski
man.
off the 40 man because
Well,
Bush and Morgan,
like those are they're on the 40 man, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So maybe so, but I mean, like you have Palacios that could go up there. Like you have a lot of options to just like
on the current roster. You have Mesa Jr., Mullins, you have Slater, Valade, and Palacios who can all play.
Yeah, you could cut some. Yeah, you could cut somebody. You can bring Oliver Dunn back up, right? You had Oliver Dunn. I mean, he was terrible, but like you could bring him back up.
You could add Malloy or Bush to the 40 man. Like
you could easily,
or you got Austin Slater. Like you can bring in someone else.
You would basically not be playing him if he was that hurt. So, but then you go like, how long do you let him go? Because he has been a locked in starter, right? Like he's not sitting.
And if he can't hit, but yeah, exactly. It's not that he's not on the IL. He's playing every day. So that's why
like Ryan Valade does not play every day. He is strictly a short-sided platoon batter. He is one of 4 batters on the team that is above 100 in WRC plus for the season. He is still one of the top 5 batters for the Rays in this month. With Aranda actually falling out of that because he's had a really rough month, but he's starting to, he'll turn it around. But Ryan Valade, like this past week, started 3 times.
Yeah.
Only against
lefties.
And Chandler started 5 times. Had 1 sit against a lefty.
Wouldn't Slater or Valade or Palacios provide more value right now than Chandler Simpson? And then let's say it's the thumb that's still hurt. Okay, so then why are we putting a bat in his hand? Why are we not pinch running him and using him as a defensive replacement
just as
where he can still add value? Let other guys get on base.
Exactly.
And then put him in and he will steal bases and then he can go play left field instead of Ryan Valade in the late innings. Like why aren't we seeing that?
And that's the thing too. Is like
so that's why I don't
think say that Ryan Valade is they're so hit Valade's glove is so bad for them that they're like we would rather have
the worst
not
hitter.
His bat. The worst hitter.
We'd rather replace Ryan Valade,
baseball,
who's been like 130 WRC plus, mostly against lefties. I know that would probably come down.
114, 340. Sure. He has basically been Taylor Ward against right-handed pitching
in a small sample. In a small sample.
In a small sample size, but like Cash has even let him play. He's let him hit against righty relievers a couple times. And he's come through pretty much every time. Like it's enough that you go like at least with like the depth being so poorly, like you would say like at least give him a shot. Like on the season, right, with the Rays, he's a +1 DRS in right field, -1 in left, -2 outs above average in left, -1 in right. Like it's not great, but like he doesn't, and eye test wise, he doesn't look like a complete butcher out there, right? Like, so he didn't look like Chandler Simpson last year. So it is baffling to have this big of a split, right? Like I understand, Victor, like against a right-handed pitcher, I would say you could maybe get Chandler a couple starts, but like not everyone. Like you have Victor Mesa, like that's fine. Like he can play. He's a good defensive outfielder, so you have him. Cedric Mullins has been playing really well lately in the last month plus. So like he's your starting center fielder. But like, yeah, it is very baffling. Now, the big test here is Johnny DeLuca is finishing up his rehab with the Durham Bulls. More than likely will be added to the roster. Well, not tomorrow, the day off, but basically for Friday back home at the Trop.
Right.
Does Johnny DeLuca play against right-handed pitching?
I think the answer is very clearly yes. I think he's playing over Victor Mesa Jr. I don't think Victor Mesa Jr. I think he's going to be the one sent down. Slater is out of options. So I think you'd maybe like to keep him around a little bit longer.
And he's
And if
been pretty
Mace,
decent. Like he's been okay. Like,
yeah. So if Mesa goes down, it's probably Simpson, Mullins, DeLuca from left to right. DeLuca played last night in right, and then he played an afternoon game today in center. I feel like he'll be with the team on Friday. After the Rays off day, he'll play. He might play tomorrow in Durham, or they might just get him up with the team. And then against lefties, you could go Simpson, DeLuca, Valade. You could go Valade, Mullins, DeLuca. Pick one of your lefties to play in, or maybe
I would just keep
Valade, DeLuca, Slater.
Oh, you could.
You could go all righties, and then maybe Palacios play. I mean, if you want to throw in a lefty at second, and then Williamson. I don't know. Maybe Williamson. There's other things you could put Williamson at short. I think DeLuca's going to play, and I think he's going to play every day. If he doesn't,
I hope so.
If he doesn't, we have serious questions for Kevin Cash.
I hope so. I think like the Valade situation makes me a little concerned that if guys get put into and DeLuca's playing time before that, right, was platoon.
That was with Jake Fraley healthy, and
it is.
Fraley's out of the picture now.
It is, and Chandler was playing well at that time.
Yeah,
right. So like it makes sense, but there is the doubt in me that once guys get put into the platoon box, it's very hard to break out of that box. And I'm very hopeful that I think Johnny DeLuca's defense is worthy of playing every single game. Because when he comes back up, he'll be your best defensive outfielder on your roster. So I would hope that he is playing every day. And I think his bat is really good against left-handed pitching, obviously. So he has to play against every lefty. But I think against righties, it's still pretty solid. Good contact, good bat speed. He's shown some really improvements. So like the Ryan Valade question where his defense isn't very sharp in the outfield, that's gone with DeLuca, right? He is sharp and defensive in the outfield. So there is no doubt about it for me that he should be playing every day. Like every single day, I would like to see Cedric Mullins in center field, Johnny DeLuca in right field. And then in left field, I think the better lineup is Ryan Valade, right? Like, or you can flip them, right? And then have Valade. But if you want to put Victor Mesa Jr. in there against righties, I'm okay with that. You can even have Chandler Simpson as your defensive guy and like batting ninth. But
yeah,
I'm really, really, really concerned. Like, it would not shock me. I know you said it's not the injury, but like maybe it's the time for a how that thumb might be feeling a little sore, right? Like just like a little sore.
I mean, sure.
And maybe that's
do it.
Maybe that's your thing. Is maybe he does an IL. Like,
so do it. Like, do it a week ago. Like,
but who do you call up a week ago? You have to then add somebody to the 40 man. Maybe
it's like
DeLuca, maybe DeLuca is close enough.
And you have cursed yourself to where now you have to compete. You were one of the first teams to 40 wins. Yeah. All right, we're in it now. We have to try to win these games. The division is still kind of like it's there. You're 3 games back as of tonight, but you're in the mix for it.
It's not enough American to completely League punt it. No.
So, like, if this were a season where you were just struggling to tread water and you were like maybe on the outskirts of a wild card, fine. Let Simpson play every day. Like, let's see what this looks like. But right now, if he's hurt, put him on the IL and you'll get better production. If he's hurt that bad where it makes him the worst player in the game, then you can replace him with somebody better. And if he's not hurt, that's even more worrying.
It is more worrying to me if he doesn't at the IL here, because then he will play, right? So like then it's like if it is Slater that goes down and you cut Slater for DeLuca against a righty, you're playing Cedric Mullins, and if you have Mesa Jr. and Chandler, they're never going to play otherwise. So like, why wouldn't they play over DeLuca? And that's my biggest fear. So I think Victor Mesa Jr. going down for DeLuca would be the cleanest, because then I think Slater is your bench bat, like pinch hitter veteran, and he can come in and out of games and whatnot, and he plays against short-sided platoon, and then you can kind of platoon Chandler and Valade, pretty much.
Yeah,
but I'm going to be worried. I'm going to be worried about that notification, because if it's Slater down, then I'm like, why keep Victor Mesa Jr. up at all if he's not going to play against right-handed pitching? And if he's going to play against right-handed pitching,
then we got a problem.
We have seven out of the next 9 games are against right-handed pitching. And if you're telling me DeLuca's not playing in at least 7 of those 9 games, 2 of the lefties and at least 5 of the righties, then what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Then I'll start acting like the folks in the comments calling for Cash's head. I'll just be like, Kevin, wake up. We got to try this year.
Well,
the last 2 years, you've had
either Cash or it's Neander, right? Like, you do need to make certain moves to just stay competitive, even if you're not going all in. Okay,
right.
We need a left fielder, like, that's going to get on base, above 150 or whatever, like the atrocious numbers you said earlier.
I mean, I do think, like, this is one of those things, like I said in the offseason, I would love to give Eric Neander truth serum with, like, Chandler Simpson and be like, what do you really think about Chandler Simpson? Like, do you think this guy is a really
knows? I think that's what they're trying to figure out.
I guess. And maybe that is the thing, right? It's like, this is the time, like, before July, you're still trying to figure this out, because there's still plenty of time to, like, make adjustments.
And this is also our open invitation to, and Kevin, Cash, I know you're listening. If you want to do the same setup that the Talking Baseball guys or the Talking Yanks guys have with Aaron Boone, like once a month.
I promise you, Kevin, Mr. Cash, we will have questions at least slightly better and less aggravating than John Boy and Jake.
We haven't, whose name we haven't said once this whole episode is Taylor Walls.
No, actually, Taylor Walls is doing everything I would want him to do. He's playing good defense. He's
no surprises.
Bunting occasionally. That, honestly, at this point, Taylor Walls is just the least aggravating person. Just like,
you can count on him to do exactly what he's doing.
I don't even hate. Actually, there's a lot of times when he is coming up in the lineup, I will say this, that I'm like, right now, I'm like, all right, Taylor Walls is going to do something here.
Like, he can put it in play.
He's going to do something here. Chandler's the guy I'm like, I'm not loving it. Even like, there's some times where honestly, like, Junior's coming up and I'm like, this is
it's going to be a strikeout. It's going to be a strikeout.
Or at best, or ground out into double play. I'm like, this is not the right person. Like Taylor Walls.
It's the guys that have been around. It's Yandy and it's Walls. They've been around for a long time on this team. And this is like their 6th, this is Walls' like 6th season.
It's very funny how we get to this point in the season where it's like you start off with like, that's the position we need to upgrade. And then at this point, I'm just like,
don't touch that position. Fix everything else.
Honestly, he's fine. We'll talk as we get closer to July, and we'll be probably more into a more like routine stuff. And we start to like really ramp up. Obviously the trade deadline is always a big show for us and for everybody. And that season is always going to be exciting. I think this year is going to be really exciting as well.
Yeah.
I look around and I look at shortstops and I'm like, I don't know. There's like a couple maybe, but like
Jeremy Pena doesn't even really get the needle moving for me now. Like
Jeremy Pena would, I think, be like, I would be like, this would be a better team with Jeremy Pena. Sure. Zach Neto, that'll be
Neto. I'm in for Neto.
But other than that, like, I mean, like Willie Adames is available and his completely underwater contract. He still probably can't see at the Trop either. So
yeah, I'm not in it for Willie Adames.
I do like that the Giants were like, Rafael Devers is available, Willie Adames is available, and everyone's like, cool. I know.
Yeah, I know. There's a reason.
You're not gonna. Nobody's gonna call about him. Luis Arise though. That Robbie one I'm
Ray?
Interested in. Robbie Ray. Do we have pants tight enough? I don't know.
Him and Nick Martinez could just share pants.
I was going to say they're just it'll just be an arms race. They're just going to get tighter and tighter. Yeah, no, I mean the Giants, Jung-Hoo Lee as well, grandson of the Wind.
I love.
There's like a bunch of guys there that I'm really interested in. You start the conversation at Logan Webb and getting them being like, we can't do that, and then you go, okay. That's really the only guy I want. But okay, fine. I just want to do a deal. I'm already on the phone. Let's go Arise and Jung-Hoo Lee. Let's see if we can do something here.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
Maybe you call them asking about Willie to get them excited that somebody's interested and be like, actually, on second thought, you're going to pick up the phone.
I don't know if they're interested in trading some of their relievers. There's some interesting relievers in that bullpen too. Caleb Killian. There's a couple of interesting names in there. Like
Giants are in a perfect spot. They should be selling. This should be a June 30th sell-off. Yeah. Who cares about the real deadline? Jump the line. Be the shop. Be the Mega Mart.
Yeah, and just, I mean, I think a bunch of their players, I mean, after Pride Month is over, probably shoot up in value. Actually, I haven't even read too much. I know it's the Giants. I haven't read too much about what happened. I've been a little busy, but I know it was the Giants.
Ryan Thompson, by the way, Marge also had to weigh in on that. So don't worry.
Ryan Thompson on those issues? No.
On Arizona Diamondbacks, he was like, well, hold on.
No, wait,
let me talk about this.
Former Rays Rule 5 pick, Ryan Thompson. That does not sound like him.
That does not sound like him. Different guy.
On that note, I think we should wrap it up for this week's episode of Raise Your Voice. Thank you guys for listening. I don't know when we'll be back. Could be next week, could be a week after. But we have been live on youtube.com/@raiseyourvoice, and we're also available wherever you get your podcast. So if you haven't already, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on those notifications so you can join us when we go live. Also, leaving a rating and review on your preferred podcast platform is a great way to spread what we do to more and more Rays fans. If you really want to say thank you, you can head on over to patreon.com/raiseyourvoice, where you can become a Raise Your Voice Patreon member for as little as $1 a month. As always, make sure to head on over to draysbay.com to check out that great Rays coverage. Once again, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you